Hi, Fiends. Thanks for joining me on this live version of DonnaJean's Coffee House of Horror. And I am here with one of my favorite human beings in the whole world. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Uncle Creepy.
I'm Felissa Rose. I know that I'm one of your favorite people, and I can't tell you how touched I am to know that. I mean,
You are.
it's really, and you gotta say, Creepy, your hair, it's amazing. You know, I mean, I've seen a lot of pictures of you, and you're always bald with a goatee and facial hair. It's really weird, but really good.
You know how much I love the two of you? I can't even take it. Like, my heart is jumping out of my tight dress.
We should have you in the middle so we can do a Felissa sandwich.
Now, we're doing the Terrifier sandwich right now.
You could do the Terrifier sandwich.
It's everywhere, baby. It's omnipotent. It's omnipresent.
So
I said it is.
The amazing and the beautiful and the kind-hearted Felissa Rose.
Thank you.
Then we have Mr. Steve Barton. And I'll let you kind of figure out which is which here. And Felissa and I were texting yesterday and saying, I love you so much. I miss you so much. When can we get together? When can we hug each other? And we just thought, very like spur of the moment, Terrifier's coming out, so let's do this. And
then I, in true Steve Barton fashion, crashed the fucking party because that's what I do.
No, then I spoke to Steve on the phone this morning because if you haven't heard, if you live under a rock, Terrifier 2 is out. I just want to say congratulations. I don't want to cry. Congratulations, Steve and everyone. This is a huge moment. Steve, take it away. We're all amazed.
And Steve is one of the producers.
I executive produced Terrifier 2. My company at the time, Dread Central, released the original. And, this is such a gift. I mean, Felissa and I, we talked last night. We spoke this morning. In the words of her character, what's going on? I mean, it's really, this has been, listen, I've been in this business for 25, 30 years now. I'm old as fuck. And I have never seen this happen, never. Not even, the only thing close to it was Hatchet 2 when it got released.
Right.
Normal Activity. But this is even on a grander scale than even those two movies. And we're like, how is this happening? On what planet is this for? It's very funny. I said to Damien earlier, not to monopolize the whole conversation.
I want to hear all this. I love this.
We want to hear all of the gossip about everything that Damien said.
Minor spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. So
spoilers.
I said to Damien, dude, we have this movie with genital mutilation, acid face baths, a ridiculous amount of gore, you name it. And this movie is bringing such unrealistic levels of joy to people. I'm like, are we doing this right? We did make a horror movie, right? And it's just like, and he was like, I don't know anything anymore. This is amazing. And Felissa and I go way back. I first met Felissa when she did her first convention, her first reunion convention. And of course, being East Coasters, we kind of smell our own. And, she's such a good actor, Felissa, especially I think she's doing her strongest work right now,
Thank you, Steve.
And plus producer, she is a one-stop shop of absolute talent. And I'm not even just saying that. Yeah, it's true, which is why I was happy to introduce myself as you in case I got away with it for just 10 seconds. And to have her in this movie and to have her be a part of this weird...
I pushed my way in, baby. I pushed my way in. I met Damien and David and fell in love and thought, wow, Steve, you know what I'm talking about. DonnaJean,
Oh,
you meet them and they're electric. and the whole team, the fun on the lens, and Steve, who I have loved for so many years, decades. It's like this was meant to be, and it transcends the movie. And this is what I told Steve this morning on the phone. This is about our community.
Yeah.
Oh, the horror community is a family, and anyone who attends or volunteers at any of the horror conventions knows that when we get together, it's like a big, crazy family reunion. And really, I'm so excited because I'm going tonight to see the premiere of Terrifier 2. It premiered at a number of theaters across the country for 3 nights. And tonight was the night I could get a ride to go because I can't see in the dark. So I've been trying to keep away from spoilers. Although, come on, I did an interview with the cast 3 years ago. Of course, I want to know spoilers. I want to see Rivera serious, kick ass.
I'm teary already. You talked to us way back when we thought the movie was going to take 3 months to film.
Well, we were talking about that Halloween, possibly it coming out, and while I love and I adore Damien and David and Michael and Marcus and everybody else that I know that's involved, I try not to pester them. But of course, that question always was, when's it gonna come out? When's it gonna come out? So I went and got StreamYard. So after I see it in the theater, I can watch it numerous times again.
It's really funny. If you don't understand, when we finally got to give people a definitive answer when it was coming out, it was like fucking Christmas. I'm like, finally, we don't have to hear this anymore. Because, there comes a certain point where you even yourself have to start wondering if people think that you're bullshitting, that this movie even happened, and to get it out there. And last night was amazing. To our shock and awe and absolute humility, we made $400,000 last night on a Thursday, on a not even a proper weekend day, on a preview night after a Jewish holiday,
Yeah.
And people showed up, man, and they had, like Felissa will tell you, I mean, she had a similar experience as I did. I mean, sitting down in that theater, it was like being at a rock concert, man. The audience, I haven't been as engaged with an audience like that in forever, where everybody knew that they were there to have fun. Nobody was getting preached to. There's no heavy-handed messaging. It's just, Art the Clown is here. Shit is going to go crazy. Sit back, put your fucking tray tables back up in the upright positions and blast off, And the crowd, every laugh was spot on where we wanted it. Every scare was where we wanted it. Every cringe was right where we wanted it.
I told you, I closed my eyes. I can't remember the last time I saw a horror movie, and actually went like this. And I've never done that. That's what I love about it. And also, Steve, let's talk about Lauren Rivera's performance in that moment. And I'm sorry, DonnaJean, for telling you, but there is a moment, we all know this moment, that was so poetic. It was so beautifully executed. It gave the audience just that moment of wow. And that's the level that I think we all want in a film. It's like the craziness, the insanity, the fun, the brutality, but the brilliance of these young actors is like something I've never seen before.
One of the things we're most proud of that we couldn't wait for people to see was Lauren Rivera. Yeah. She is our final girl, She is compassionate, strong, every emotion that a character in her position could possibly have to go through dealing with all these things. She does on screen, and she does so effortlessly.
And a lot more. There were things that she's thrown as the character that I'm like, wow, this girl
that was another great thing, because listen, everyone's main criticism about the first film is there's not a lot of story, and we know that. And Damien Damien's the type of guy, he reads everything. So he's like, okay, so everybody's complaint was there was no story. Well, hold my beer, okay? And he just sat there and he just hammered out a story. If no one expected it to be over 2 hours, that wasn't something we expected. It wasn't planned. Damien just wrote his story, and it ended up being what it was. And that ended up being one of the movie's main talking points because people were like, oh, 2.5 hours slasher movie? And it just, no one's complaining now. And as the post,
2.5 hours, let's say, tell it the way it is, it flies by. Like, it's really hard to believe it's 2.5 hours because from start to finish, you're so captivated. There's just no, it's relentless. You're like, I caught myself a couple of times, like in that weird face of,
I actually have read a number of the reviews, mostly that Damien has posted, and they all say, like, yeah, this couldn't have been any less time. There are no parts they would have cut out, to sum it up. And all of them just say, and, you know, again, to sum it up, that Lauren brings the final girl to a new level, you know, and that's, you know, I love Damien and I love David, and I love what they do together with art and bringing the character to life. But I'm so excited to see Lauren from what I've been hearing about her character, about Sienna. You know, it sounds like it's opening up a whole new genre.
Well, you know what? I mean, the first film is very much Art's movie, Art's introduction, and this is Sienna's movie. I mean, there's even a juxtaposition at the very beginning, where the very beginning of Terrifier, you see Art making his weapons, and the beginning of Terrifier 2, you see Lauren making her outfit. You know, it's nice. An extreme juxtaposition, which is of course a nod to Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, when Freddy was making the glove, and this is so crazy. You know what? Here's what I'm most proud of, and I'm so, other than everyone who made this movie and all the fans who are showing up to see it, I've been horror's cheerleader for 30 years, you know? And right now, even if it wasn't Terrifier, I'm glad it is, but even if it wasn't Terrifier, this movie, if it comes out and it does even moderately well, this little unrated horror movie, we have effectively changed the game for horror and horror filmmakers. And it opens up the door to everyone, to theaters willing to take a lot more chances on releasing an unrated horror movie or an indie movie. So if this does even this good right now, and we're on track, I don't want to get excited, but we're on track. We've done our part to change things.
You know, Felissa and I have talked about that. We've talked about how indie, with COVID and the quarantine, how indie movies took on a whole new life in filmmaking. And of course, the Terrifier film, like, that's one that you can just pull up and say, but yeah, it takes the passion and it takes and of course that people are invited in to become a part of that family, you know, and not only by the Indiegogos, which is something I didn't even know about before COVID. Not only by way of the Indiegogos and supporting it, but also just by their love of it and wanting it to happen, you know. So the horror community becomes part of the film.
Every facet of this movie is a different story, you know. The Indiegogo campaign launched. We reached our goal in less than 3 hours, ended up raising over $200,000. And we're like, okay, well, I guess we're making this fucking movie now. And, you know, it's everything has just been lightning in a bottle. Everything, it's a Rocky story. This is what happens when you let people, and God bless Cinedigm and Bloody Disgusting and Scream. They had the balls to give us a chance. And this movie, it has no fucking shit. It really doesn't. And they put us on 850 screens with even more drive-ins signing on now to show the movie. And the audacity of it all is brilliant, you know? And, you know, listen, if I'll tell you one thing, Damien always says it. What you're going to see tonight and what everyone's going to see when they see it this weekend, aside from the cast, and Felissa, you were there, you can attest to this. This is the blood, the sweat, the tears, and the grit of 8 people. 8. Okay? No big giant crews, no big trailers, no fucking craft services, nothing. This is 8 people who damn near killed themselves to make something cool.
And I do want to say that because that is something that is so incredibly important for everyone to know about the Terrifier team. You, Damien, David, Phil, Jason, Michael, Steven, George, you know, Marcus, let me know if I'm missing anyone. But this group, when you're around them, and it's like, it's pure family, pure love, pure collaboration. This is the way film should be made. It was led with heart, positivity, authenticity. All the reason this is happening to this film is because of all of those ingredients. Mm-hmm. When something so pure happens, it's destined to have this magic. When I was on that set for one day, it was like you felt like you were walking on a cloud, and everyone was laughing and having a good time, and there was no, you know, it was just made. It was like a child that was just made from love, and you know, it is such a beautiful story. And I do feel like our community comes around and takes care of that.
I mean, they're showing up. And you know what? To that point, you know, there's a lot of ways to listen to people who made this movie talk about it. And it's having such great success that it's important that everyone realize that we talk about it with a great deal of reverence for the people who are lifting us up, and humility, because we did not see this coming. Mm-hmm. And I think that really, it bears mentioning that there's a great difference between confidence and ego. You know, we're confident about what we bring to the table. Mm-hmm. We're not egocentric about it.
No.
Together.
No ego. No ego. That's what, you know what I've said a lot in my past? What happens behind the scenes typically is the energy from behind the scenes usually on the screen, if that makes sense. Like when there's love and happiness on the set, you can feel, which is kind of funny, ironic that it's such brutal like that.
Right, so much violence.
But which is so beautiful, and that's what we love, that roller coaster of emotions with art, because we can feel that it came from such a genuine place, from artists who really care and take it so seriously. You know, for Damien to take the time that he did is the most beautiful thing, because had he rushed, had he cut scenes, had he been under the gun, you know, or told this is how you have to do it, it wouldn't be the film that it is today.
Right.
You can't cut Terrifier.
When I have to tell this little story that on one of the interviews I did with that Damien was involved with, he said that his mom can't watch Terrifier, but like certain scenes of it. I'm sure you know the scenes. But that she said, I love you so much. I'm so proud of you, but I can't watch some of it. And, you know, I could relate to that, because you'd be seeing, you know, somebody you absolutely love and you're in awe of their art. But, oh, my gosh, it's so terrifying.
Well, Mrs. Leone, God bless her soul, was in the audience for the New York City red carpet premiere. And the first thing I did as the moderator is, once the lights went up, I want everybody, above and beyond anything, let's hear it from Mrs. Leone, because she's the reason Damien's here. But, you know, there are a lot of champions of this. Yeah. One of the main hearts and souls of this production is Phil Falcone. These films don't exist without Phil.
Yes. Thank you, Phil. We love you, Phil.
Phil, we love you.
I am so privileged to have somebody in my life like him, because, you know, we're about 10 years apart, but listen, you never stop learning, you know? And I am happy to learn from him and to see the way he carries himself and the way he responds. it's a textbook lesson on how you should treat people, like an asshole, right, Phil? No, again, but no, seriously.
Fire.
Having worked at a number of Monster Mania was my home convention, and Damien ended up getting like a vendor booth so that they could, Damien and Michael, so they could let people know what they were doing with their films and all that. And I walked around and saying, "Come see Damien Leone." And again, you talked about the humility that they espoused about people are coming to see us, people are coming over and wanting to see us, and just the love that's there. And I will say, being involved with running this horror convention and event group and all that on Facebook, everybody wants to see the Terrifier crew at conventions. Everybody wants to meet everybody. And that's in fact where I met Phil. And
I love
I'm
it.
happy that I did.
You remember when you walked around saying that, Steve?
Yeah.
He
It's
is
so, the whole story.
that personality. He is so fun.
Yeah. Phil, I mean, David's like the living embodiment of Roger Rabbit all the time.
Oh my goodness.
He's a fucking walking Looney Tune. 24 hours a day. Damien, this whole thing is I call him a genius. I legitimately believe it, because it's his absolute recklessness and his refusal to compromise, to stick to his vision and to get what he wants. When you show up, much like Romero, George Romero was my mentor, George Romero and Haig, and I was lucky enough to have them both in my life for a long period. And they taught me everything I know, and they're probably the only reason I'm here, because I'm not smart enough to do this on my own, you know. And I worked with George in his last movie, and what I saw from George was everyone who was on his set was happy to be there, and we wanted to bring all of our A games for him, you know. And it's very much the same on a Terrifier set. Damien is so infectious and so enthusiastic and so willing to collaborate with everybody that you want to bring your A game, you know. There's another, Phil is the nucleus of this project, but the triangle around the nucleus, it's David, Damien, and George Stuber. George Stuber, the cinematography.
He's so lovely.
If this guy does not explode, I don't know. I'm wrong about everything in my life. He is.
And you're right there. So you have nucleus, the triangle, and then
my silly ass going, "What's going on?"
Of surround the center.
Yeah.
But I think that's also one thing that's so important to recognize is it takes the team. Yeah. You know, and I feel like some filmmakers are foolish when there is ego and they do feel like, oh, me. And, you know, they don't understand that you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And you're right. Damien is so infectious and makes everyone so loved. Mm-hmm. He's so loved. Yeah. Makes everyone feel so happy and calm.
And you feel like you're supposed to be there, you know? Yeah. Like, if I do anything in my life, and according to Adam Green, I've started the Hatchet Army, you know?
I adore Adam Green.
Yes.
Because that's filled with love.
Yes. I mean, I've done an amazing amount of stuff. Nobody on the planet knows how lucky I am more than I do, you know? And I am most proud of the work I've done with the Terrifier crew because of the ground floorness. We have no marketing budget. We have nothing. This is all grassroots as it gets. This is word of mouth, people talking about it, us tweeting about it, and saying, "Hey, you want this? We got you. Come and get it." You know, and we're just blessed. And I can't tell you, and this is no bullshit, how ecstatic I am that Felissa is part of this family.
Oh, Steve,
I mean, honestly, you're such a good actor. You bring, even if you're on screen for 10 fucking seconds, it's one of the best 10 fucking seconds we're gonna get, you know. And
I look for movies with Felissa in them.
I do want to say one thing. When Damien, when he called me to say, "Hey, I have this part. I would love for you to," that's all I heard. It was just like Adam Green, because I always cite the two of them as two directors I actually went after, and they both have restraining orders, but that's a whole other thing.
Don't we all?
I love them so much. I had to put myself in their face and like really, kind of grovel. No. And when Damien called, I really, really got off the phone like, oh my gosh. I already felt it because I was already feeling like Terrifier was just.
Now we are, Felissa, you do have a time limit, and we're down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Believe it or not, this time has just gone by.
I know.
But I do want to let you guys know that Don Murray has been commenting all kinds of things, and he loves you numerous times over, Felissa. And Nick Manhattan sends his love to everybody. And while we have a minute, and I don't want to cut you off because I could keep talking to you guys for a really long time. But Felissa, do you want to share where people might be able to meet you? Do you have anything coming up you'd like to share with people?
The next show I'm at is Scarefest in Kentucky, which is in a couple of weeks. And then I'll be in Germany for Halloween for the last weekend at Halloween Haunt in Alsdorf. So it's on my Instagram. And there's other things coming up. I do a screening in Sacramento in November. And so I'll post everything. I love you. And I appreciate, again, our entire community. And thank you, both of you, so much for being just such a part of my heart. And I appreciate you. Like, sometimes it just feels like I can't ever express it enough. I really I've been a ball of emotion, as Stephen over it represents a bigger and greater thing than what we all even understand. So thank you.
Yeah. We are so much more together than we are as individuals. So,
and if the world could be united by anything, why not a fucked up clown movie?
Works for me. That makes so much sense.
It makes sense. Perfect.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Felissa. You're both amazing. I love you. I'm going to see Terrifier 2 tonight.
I want details, Mrs.
You will get details, and I hope to run into you soon at a show. It was just announced today that Damien and David will be at Monster Mania Oaks in November. So I've been suggesting them for about 3 years. So I'm just so excited. So if you could get there, Steve.
Dave Higgins is a very good friend of mine. And I've been suggesting it quite a little bit too. And thankfully, I think that Dave is so good at what he does. He's one of the best. And I can't thank him enough for inviting
And he's now a cat person.
Oh, even better.
Even better. I love you guys.
I love you.
Hang out there. Terrifier 2.
Everyone, go see Terrifier 2. Go see it. Run.
Some history with us, baby. This is what it's all about.
And it's an experience. It's not a film. It's an experience. Truly.
Okay. Well, happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.